it's Greg here with Outdoors on the Cheap, and I thought I'd show you this canoe that I bought a few weeks ago for $100. And so I haven't been making videos the last couple weeks for Outdoors on the Cheap, and that's because I've been consumed with the process of fixing this canoe. I got it for $100 because it had all kinds of problems and it needed to be repaired, work with fiberglass and stuff like that. So I filmed a little bit of that process, but it took me like two or three weekends of time messing around with it. So I didn't do like a start to finish filming of the process. I just got a couple clips here and there, and I'll just feather them into this video as I show you the various parts of the canoe that needed to be worked on. I guess starting from, so this is a square stern canoe. Let me just show you with the camera. So this is a square stern canoe. See, it doesn't have a point at both ends. It's got a square stern. That's for putting a motor on, that sort of thing. And I'm seriously considering getting one of those little electric trolling motors. You stick one of those on a canoe, it moves it along just fine, and they're so much cheaper than gas-powered motors. And also here where I live, if you have a motor over a certain horsepower, you have to get a special boating license and all that kind of stuff. Still not a bad idea, I suppose. But just a little trolling motor, you don't need that. So, I mean, you still got to bring paddles and stuff, right? But that's the great thing about the square stern. You can put a little trolling motor on it, and off you go. But when I bought this, there was no stern. That was just open. It had rotted out. I don't know. The canoe looked to me like it had been submerged in the water for a long time. And there was the stern was sort of wood, and it was all rotted away. So I got a fiberglass kit and some stuff like that. I used kitty hair as well, just to smooth out some corners and stuff like that. But really, for a repair of that nature on a fiberglass canoe, you need fiberglass, and resin and all that sort of stuff. A couple layers of it to do the repair properly. So that's what I did, and it took some time to build it out. Also, this canoe was in dire need of a paint job and that sort of thing. The whole thing was white when I bought it. I got this paint. It's called marine enamel. So I did the outer hull with marine enamel. I did the inside just with like rust paint, like tread clam, and exterior enamel. All the shovel handles in my garden are painted with that, and they're outside all season long, and it never chips, never cracks. So I think as long as you prepare the surface correctly, it should hold up pretty well. If I was to leave this outside, it would be upside down anyway. So the marine enameled surface would be, the thing would be upside down. That's the part that would be exposed to the weather. So why did I just not make the whole thing green? Well, you want the inside of your canoe to be a lighter color so that when you drop things, you can find them. You drop a small hook or something like that, or a fly, or whatever you want to be visible. That's the main reason. You don't want to be super white, or it'll, reflect a bit. So this is sort of like a cream, gray, green, I guess. I just had some off-white paint, and I put some black paint in it to make it dark. But so all of these coats required sanding and all that sort of stuff, so it was a fairly big production. This seat on this side, there's a little lip that the thing sits on. That had basically was half broken away. So I repaired that just using kitty hair. For those that you don't know, I guess I should show you these products. I mean, there's various different kinds of brands. I don't care which brand you buy. I'm not getting anything from these companies, but the stuff I'm calling kitty hair, I think I got this at Canadian Tire. It's called Bondo glass, but all of them are the same. Basically, it's this green stuff with little strands of fiberglass in it. You mix this red stuff like a catalyst in with it until it goes from being green to sort of like a burgundy color. And then you work very quickly because you got about 10-15 minutes to work with it, and it hardens up. So that's what I use to rebuild that. You can use that for building, for repairing a sort of small thing that's not going to be bending and moving too much. But anything that's got a lot of stress and has flexing and stuff like that, you got to use the fiberglass. So the fiberglass, you have like a resin, right? You mix it with a hardener. Again, when you mix this, you've got only so much time to work with it. And you have to use a paintbrush or roller to work with this. Whatever you use to work with this stuff, it's going to be garbage when you're done. So go to the dollar store. Don't, you know, the cost of cleaning this stuff. Once you mix this stuff with the, was it this, or resin hardness, once you mix the two of them together, they are drying, right? There's a chemical reaction. You can tell because a strong smell comes off of it. You don't need much of this either. There's lots of videos on. I'm not an expert on fiberglassing, so I didn't, you know, decided. I watched a number of videos on fiberglassing. I grew up around it. My dad had a boat when I was a kid, so I've sort of seen it, but I haven't done a lot of it myself. So I decided not to really do a how-to video on fiberglassing because I'm not an expert. There are, if you just look up fiberglassing boats on YouTube, there's plenty of people that actually do it for a living that can give you good advice. Now, I was saved because a lot of the technical advice on fiberglassing, it's about making things look perfect. I didn't really care if it looked perfect. So you can see the work. I mean, this whole end was ripped off. So I have a piece of fiberglass bent around this corner all the way around. You can sort of see where it is, right? And I also attached the fiberglass all the way around here. So you can see how it goes from being, you know, kind of smooth and nice to being sort of rough and not so nice. You know, this is my work, right? So there's more work I could have done to make it perfect, but I just really don't care. As long as it's strong enough, that's all that was needed for me. Anyway, what I did was I cut wood. I cut a piece of 2x6, I think, to fit this whole area, to fit in perfectly. Then I screwed it in, nailed it in, and then I glassed around the corner and glassed around this corner, and then I put a piece of glass all the way down the back, right? So basically there's a sleeve of fiberglass all around the end, holding it onto the canoe, right? And then one over the back, and then one on this side, right? So it's glassed in really good, right? So that shouldn't go anywhere. Boy, I hope not, right? Then I just put the seats back in. I was going to upholster the seats, but I thought, geez, Greg, who cares, right? When these start to fall apart, I'll reupholster. And I made these, the thwarts and the yoke the same color as the hull, just for stylistic reasons, right? But yeah, I mean, so the canoe cost $100, actually $110 to be exact. And I would say I had to spend about $100 in stuff to restore it. But yeah, I'm happy with the results. $200 for a nice canoe like this with a square stern. I don't think you're gonna. I had to blow a lot of my time, but that was fine. I don't really mind. I was sitting here in the garage, had a cold beer going, had the radio going, and just I kind of like little projects and puttering around anyway. So it's really not a not a cost to me like one might think. But yeah, that's what you can do with an old canoe, just with some paint, some fiberglass, and some kitty hair, sandpaper, and a bit of time. So that's what I've been spending all my time doing. Hopefully in the future I can do some videos with this thing out on the water. So anyway, I thought I'd just share that with you. Old, used, $110 smashed up canoe. A few hours of my time, over the course of a few days. And about $100 for the materials, and it's ready to go, right? And I can take my young fella on this thing, and we can go have a great time. I'm going to spend some money. I'm going to buy a brand new electric motor for it. Why not? But totally unneeded, right? All you need is paddles, right? You can get anywhere in a canoe as long as you got the water. So yeah, just something to think about if you're, oh geez, I'd really like to have a canoe, but I can't afford one. Think about getting an old messed up one and fixing it. A lot of these old fiberglass canoes, they tend to go for cheap because people don't want fiberglass. It weighs a bit more than some of the newer materials. It weighs way more than aluminum, and it's not as indestructible as some of the new PVC and sort of plastic type materials. So it doesn't tend to be as desired by a lot of canoers, but it works perfectly fine. And actually, this design of canoe tends to run really nice. So yeah, something to think about, right? If you want to be out in the water, you want a boat, but you don't want to spend a lot of money, maybe you buy some old smashed up thing for $100, $150. You throw about $100 worth of materials into fixing it up, and there you go. Right, you're sitting pretty. So hopefully I can, in the future, I can shoot some videos and maybe out on the water this thing, see how she goes, right? But yeah, that's about it for this video. So I hope you found this interesting. If you did, please like, share, subscribe. And until next time, enjoy the outdoors on the cheap. Thanks for watching.